What is going on, everybody? Welcome to RGTP. I'm your host, Lewis. And God, does it feel good to be back? It has been a minute, as you guys can see. Been dealing with a little bit of COVID issues here and there. Last week, had to miss not one stream, but both streams. And that's never good. But we're back. Hopefully, back on track, regular scheduled programming. And of course, it's not a regularly scheduled program without my man, Mamba. Mamba, how are we doing today?
Happy to talk some more shits with you, bro. It's been a minute.
It's been a little while, man. It
Life gets
has.
in the way. It happens.
It's been tough. But nonetheless, it is Wednesday, which means we are on the daily, weekly sports takes. And there has been quite a lot. But like I said, we're going to try to get as much done as we can. Still feeling a little bit under the weather, so it won't be a jam-packed show as usual. But nonetheless, start in the world of hoops because it is slow. But there is one
What are you
guy
talking about?
who continues to
It's not slow for
stir
you.
the pot
Didn't you hear
over
it?
and over again.
Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown for him, bro. Didn't you hear it?
Yes. Mr. Kevin Durant continues to be in the headlines of the NBA right now as we await his sort of second decision, really, because he kind of already did this when he went to Golden State. There was a lot of up in the air what he was going to do.
Kind of
and
his
stuff.
third, if you think about it, right?
I mean, yeah,
Because the whole
kinda.
Knicks Nets thing, that was a
Yeah.
whole, I want to be a Knick. Well, I want to be a Net. Well, I guess we're Nets. And now,
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Kevin Durant saga ends up continuing, meets with owner Joe Tsai and says, hey, it's either me or them. Either
Right.
get them the fuck out the building
Yeah.
or get me the fuck out the building.
What would you do? What would you do? No bias because of the whole Celtics rumor stuff. If you are the owner of the Nets, are you going Kevin Durant or are you keeping Steve Nash?
That truly depends on the philosophy of your team. Are you trying to... Because this is what happens. On the flip side, if you go Kevin Durant's route and you just get rid of them guys, all right, you get a new GM and you get a new coach, the next pair of guys that walk in there are going to be walking on eggshells because they're not going to want to piss off Kevin Durant because they might lose their job. That's the flip side of that. And then on the other side, if you go with Joe Tsai's side of things and just say, fuck Kevin Durant, we're just going to move on from him, it's going to rub people the wrong way considering it's a easily top 2, top 3, depending on how ranking is and what you prioritize, yada yada. But this is easily a top 3 player in the NBA, and just to move off from him so easily. I mean, hey, it is something because then again, the owners are going to be like, hey, we stand with you, we appreciate you. Like, he's in a contract, let's make him tough it out, so on and so forth. But
you know what doesn't help is that when they hired Steve Nash, everyone was like, why? Why are you hiring Steve Nash? And then
nepotism.
You got the whole Kyrie saying, we don't even need a head coach. We're going to be great regardless. And now it's Steve Nash is a part of the problem. This guy's a part of the problem. KD's a part of the problem. Everyone. Single person in that organization needs to be held accountable. And I don't know if them trading Durant, people will look at it and be like, okay, they couldn't get it done with them. Is there really any stock in me going there and being able to change something, But Durant, he had a hissy fit. Well, we can call it what it is. He saw Kyrie wanted out, and he was like, yo, you want out, but I'm going to stay. That don't make any sense. I want out. And then Kyrie's like, yeah, I'm committed. And now he's like, no, I asked for the trade, and now I'm talking to you. You either do this or you trade me. I'm out. I'm done. I'm not dealing with it, right? And not everyone is going to be like a LeBron, where it's like, we know you are leading the team. We know you're making it. And I don't think Durant, to an extent, wants to be the leader of the team. He just wants to go on the court. Man wants to ball out like he normally does, right?
Go play on the Pro-Am in the Drew League, buddy.
Ideologies are not mashing well with that Nets team. And
you want to go ball, go to the Pro-Am and go to the Drew League and go play over there.
Yeah.
Because it's not looking good for. I don't know. It's just I get it. He just
So,
wants to
yep,
ball and stuff. But when you are literally one of the faces of the game and one of the guys of it, was
yep.
sort of easier for Kawhi, I guess, so to speak, to shy away and being a top guy. But no one really talks about Kawhi because Kawhi doesn't put himself
He's
in the
always
spotlight.
injured as well. Let's
KD's
be
in here
honest.
arguing with people, talking shit to Shaq, talking shit to Chuck,
Yep.
talking shit on Twitter.
Hey, man likes to
Like
talk. He likes to talk. We know
exactly.
that.
So, he's going to be under fire. And the thing is, if the Nets decide to just go away from that, what does that mean to other top guys? What does that mean to the Donovan Mitchells and the Zach Levines and the Bam Adebayos and all these young guys that will be free agents in the future? They're not going to be like, hey, I'm going to Brooklyn. That's somewhere I want to be. No. Why would I go to Brooklyn when they're clearly not all in on
Yeah.
all of their players? There obviously is some sort of a discord and disconnect between us. So it just doesn't make any sense on why you would just piss off Kevin Durant. You know what I
I
mean? This is a
mean,
guy with a lot of
hey,
power, a
it
lot of
don't matter.
but
Like,
and then vice versa on the owner side of things. You have your own power and your own
yeah.
structure and
You
it's
can't be
just
bitched by a player, bro. If you get bitched, you're the owner of the team, and if you get bitched, just like, all right, bro, we just walk over you. Look, no offense. Look at the Kings, how they've been doing. Their owner very hands on from what we've known, and it's not worked.
Yep.
Nobody in the NBA has faced the Kings in a playoff game, bro. No one. That's insane.
We've seen it. I mean, hey, we've seen it over the years. LeBron obviously going back and forth with Dan Gilbert.
Yep.
Not winning a chip, yada yada yada. Dan Griffin also said being in LeBron's shadow. This is what it happens. We've seen it in the NFL.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers going up against Gutekunst. It's tough when your star player and essentially the face of your franchise is just like fuck the owner. Fuck
yes, but let's talk about the package, right? He put two teams, the Sixers and the Celtics.
So does that mean they have to trade James Harden? Because
they ain't trading James Harden.
What?
My thing with the Sixers and you saying James Harden just got me to think of more players on that team. It'll have to involve Tyrese and Tobias. Tobias for the money to match, and then Tyrese to be that young player that gives them the, okay, we can have this guy for the future. He'll fit well next to Ben Simmons because he's a spacer, another ball handler, someone Ben could pass to at the three-point line. But Doc Rivers has already come out and said Tyrese is like the most talented 21-year-old he's ever been around. He's been around some talented people. At that age, I don't know everybody's been around at that age, right? But that sounds like Tyrese to me is not you can't go after him. They want to keep him. And if that's the case, you then have Matisse and Tobias as the, and when you look at the Celtics, when the Celtics are like, yo, we'll give you Jaylen Brown. You want Tobias and Matisse and some picks, or do you want Jaylen Brown and maybe a Grant Williams, or maybe a Peyton Pritchard, or maybe a Derek White, like they're obviously going to get the best offer from the Celtics because the Celtics can offer Jaylen Brown.
I don't know about the best offer.
What would be the best offer? Who realistically best offer for Durant?
There's three teams that I'm calling. It's very simple. I'm calling Boston for Jaylen Brown, obviously, and whether I can get Grant Williams
or Jason
maybe Derek
Tatum,
White. No,
maybe
I'm probably
Robert
I'm asking for Jaylen, one of the Williams boys.
Yes.
3 firsts and probably Derek White. Second team I'm calling, and I'm not giving up on. I'm still calling Nick Nurse and Masai Ujiri up in Toronto. They're still either Siakam, OG Anunoby, Gary Trent. There's a lot of good players up in Toronto. So that's one of the main teams that me personally, I'm still calling for.
Yep.
And then the third team that keeps getting floated around every once in a while, go call up them boys down in New Orleans. Go call up for a Brandon Ingram.
I mean, yeah, Brandon would be nice.
A bunch of those picks you still have from all these trades. And then you have a
Kira
big three of
Lewis.
Durant, Zion, and CJ McCollum as the number 3. That's a huge
fuck with that.
hey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do agree.
Those 3 teams because Jaylen Brown Ingram, and then a combination of OG Anunoby, Siakam, Gary. Like you will be able to get someone to replicate and cover at least a little bit of what Durant does, while obviously accumulating draft picks and other key role players. Because Kyrie, you're probably out by All-Star weekend.
How old?
Especially if KD's gone.
Yeah. How old's Jaylen Brown? Like last I heard he was like 23, but he might be like 24,
I want to say
25.
he's 24, 25.
24, 25. And Brandon Ingram's around that age, right?
Around 25, 26, yep.
I understand it's Durant. I really do, because I even said to our friends, like, if the Celtics called up the Clippers and like, we'll give you Jaylen Brown and the Grant Williams and all these firsts and someone else, and was like, you give us Kawhi, I was like, yo, honestly, I would take that. And I understand Kawhi, he's been the guy. He got traded to Toronto and they immediately won a championship. Like, I understand. I think I maybe rather have Kawhi than Durant right now. And Kawhi is just always injured, but he showed he can be the guy on a team to win a championship, right?
Yep.
But if the Celtics are calling like, yo, we'll give you this and that for Kawhi, I was like, yo, I would take it, because Kawhi's not always there. Like, he is always injured. He's sitting with Jaylen Brown and you saying Brandon Ingram. Is it smart to be like, yes, we'll give you our second best young player, right, for the 4 years remaining on Durant in hopes we win a ring? Like, I understand it, but you have the young player who could potentially become, obviously Durant's a Hall of Famer.
Right.
But, like, we've seen Jaylen, he looked like the best on that Celtics team in this playoff run. We've seen Brandon Ingram look like the best player on that Pelicans team at times, and obviously Zion wasn't there. But even with Zion there, he was still getting his numbers. Are you willing to give up so much for the 3-4 years that you get out of Durant?
Well, that's the point. You might only be getting 3 or 4 years out of player X in the first place, which is the big thing with that goes back to Joe Tsai and Kevin Durant bumping heads, and where does it stand? Will Joe Tsai essentially bend over and grant free player mobility and fuck it, we signed you to a 5-year deal, you in a year number 1, you have 4 years left, but we're going to do whatever. What's stopping Jason Tatum next year? We flame out. He has 3 years left on his deal. What's stopping him from being like, all right, I'm getting the fuck up out of here? What's stopping Brandon Ingram from doing that? What's stopping Anthony Davis potentially from being like, hey, LeBron, this isn't working. We still have Russ on the books. You're still like nothing. We saw your Clippers. Paul George resigns, stays with OKC. 3 years left. Boom! I'm going to the Clippers. Like, nothing is stopping that. So that is sort of that is where it's like, all right, I might have 15 years of player X, young player X, or I might have 3 because of the course of the way the NBA is shifting and shaping right now. Yeah. Essentially, that's really kind of how it is. And Russ has been thrown around here and there. We've seen CP3 get moved around a whole bunch. DeRozan's bounced around a bunch of teams the last few years, moving around.
Yo,
it's.
Did you see the Warriors tried to get him? He basically said, "Fuck off, bro. Yeah. I'm not doing that. Get out of here."
Nothing is stopping player X being involved in the trade with Kevin Durant. That's going to guarantee that he's going to want to stay. Right. There's no guarantee that's the next Kobe, the next Dirk, the next D Wade, the next,
You point
Paul
Kobe
Pierce.
And Dirk. Did you see Mark Cuban said they almost had a deal to acquire Kobe and they were going to pair him with Dirk? Dirk apparently went to that man and was like, yo, if you got to trade me for Kobe, I completely understand. But he was like, nah, bro. Well, nah. We're going to put Kobe and Dirk together. That would have been amazing. That would have been amazing.
Would have been. It really would have been. But that's what it comes down to. Not everybody is those guys that want to hunker down for 20 plus years in a franchise. So at any given, and you're an asshole anyways. You messaged me when this shit all first started. And you're like, I hope Jaylen Brown gets mad and asks for a trade, and you guys don't get Kevin Durant.
Yes. I hope y'all end up with nothing. But
that
Jason
is the
Tatum
problem. That is the problem. That is the shit. Like, you're not gonna know what player X is really
Yeah.
thinking. He might just
Yeah.
get sick and tired of it. I mean, LeBron, prime example. We thought it was, all made pitch perfect in Cleveland, and
Yep.
it didn't work. He had to come back twice and leave twice. Like, it's just, it is what it is. But we're going to continue to monitor the Kevin Durant situation
Of course.
and the Donovan Mitchell
Yep.
situation that lurks in the
In
background as we
any
wait.
other situation.
Yeah, pretty much as we get ready for the NFL season. Hard Knocks was insane. We
I
had
didn't watch it, but I seen clips.
Jamal
Yes.
Williams busting down tears, Aiden Hutchinson singing away, offensive, defensive coaches getting at it. Hard Knocks was absolutely amazing. We also got a preview with D-Hop and the Cardinals for in-season Hard Knocks.
Do not care about them.
Football season is here. We had the Hall of Fame game.
So bro. I'm so mad.
More Deshaun Watson news, 6-game suspension now being appealed. We
Yeah.
might see what's about to happen to Deshaun. Get him the fuck up out of here.
The Browns, dumpster fire.
Oh, we're going to talk about the Browns in just a little bit.
Dumpster
First,
fire.
we're going to talk about a team in Miami that somehow gets linked back to my New England Patriots and your New Orleans Saints. The scandal of last week. Of course,
we're just a bunch of cheaters out here, bro.
Doing what the fuck they do. Stephen Ross suspended for tampering to get your former head coach, Sean Payton, and my former quarterback, Tom Brady, down in Miami in some sort of coach-quarterback ownership state weird fucking shenaniganry. And the underlying shit about all this is Brian Flores wasn't lying. They were trying to tank the fuck out of this.
Yes, they were. And
they wanted legitimately good draft picks to bring in a Hall of Fame quarterback and a Hall of Fame head coach while telling Brian Flores, get the fuck out in the back door.
Yep.
What the hell got unloaded last week? Because Deshaun has stolen headlines basically since the offseason. And now the Miami Dolphins story is basically been front and center and does not look good. It does not look good.
It doesn't look good, but my initial reaction was, oh, that's a slap on the wrist. Because like when you look at it, the only thing they really lost was that first round pick. $1.5 million.
And it's their first round pick, which means they have hopes this year.
We can go to that real quick, right? Because you're talking about training camp. There was the underthrow from Tua to Tyreek, but then there's a 65-yard touchdown pass from Tua to Tyreek, and you got
everyone's
Tyreek
gonna look great, and everyone's gonna look like dog shit.
There's not much difference between the Dolphins and the Chiefs, and me and Jalen Waddle, we're about to dominate. Like there is optimism in that spring training, and then you go to the business side, and it's we were tampering and. Now we don't have this first-round pick and I think a third or a fourth-round pick. The man is an NFL owner, okay? And he only got fined $1.5 million. like if you want to I'm saying only, but like $1.5 million, that's a shit ton, to people like us.
Yeah.
But to people like him, he's just like, take it. It's only 1.5. I'll make that back in like X amount of days, right? And them losing the first sucks. Obviously, it's a first. But people expect them to be somewhat good, with the team they're putting around them. And there's hopefully Tua can be what people expected Tua to be. But nah. My head coach was suspended for the entire year. We were probably fined X amount of dollars. I don't remember. There was multiple players fined, right? Like, and suspended. Your Deflategate, I'm sure something happened with that,
we lost the first. Brady was suspended to start the year. Ended up having to go through all that appealing bullshit. We've had a couple incidents.
Yeah, and
so I get it. We are some cheating motherfuckers.
The GM being suspended. What does that even mean? The GM is suspended? Like,
Vice chairman was suspended,
Oh,
fined
my
half a
bad.
million
That they
dollars.
are so important. Where it's like, if we're gone, nothing's gonna run accordingly. Well, guess what? Nothing has been running accordingly since your owners got there. Pretty much, it
Yeah,
seems
because they're
like.
trying to tank the franchise.
It,
That is so bad.
how is that not as bad as someone winning $1,500 on a game he's not even
Oh, it is.
participating in?
It is. That's
You
why it's
know,
been
man gets
swept
an
away.
entire year,
That's why it's been swept away so fast. And
bro.
Pat McAfee's talked about this on his show. The league wants this to go away as fast as
Of
humanly
course,
possible
of
because
course.
this challenges the integrity of the game due to the fact that they were legitimately tanking in the first place and purposely losing games. And we know how that's turned out in basketball. It's changed lottery odds. It's done a whole bunch. You know, you get people in and out. But this is a legitimate owner going to a head coach and being like, "Hey, fuck it. Like, just tank. We're good. We just want to worry about draft capital, and that's about it." And apparently, in other owners' meetings, Stephen Ross has been known to be one that cares about draft position. He likes being in the top
It's because he
five, in the
sucks.
top. I guess so.
It's
He
because he sucks.
legitimately in these meetings boast about how we suck and we have a bunch of draft picks and we're dog water. And apparently this was his plan all along, was to tank the franchise down to the point where they could load up on a bunch of draft picks, get a bunch of young guys, and then bring in Sean Payton and Tom Brady in one
Hear me
big
out.
swoop over the summer and call it what it is. And who knows if this wouldn't have happened next season if it wasn't for Brian Flores coming out and being like, "Hey, Miami tried to fuck me."
Right. And not only did he try to fuck him, if you're a fan and you're going to a game and you're like, yeah, my team, I'm so ready to see them win. And then you go out there and it's like, yo, did they purposely just do all that shit? Well, guess what? It turns out they did, right?
Yep.
Like, if I have my tickets, if I have the receipts to every Miami Dolphin game that I have been
Season
to,
ticket holder.
I am calling up a lawyer, bro, and I'm like, yo, I did not pay to see my team intentionally lose. Is
Right.
there, like, honestly, sue the hell out of the Dolphins if you're a fan, bro. You deserve your money back from that time where they were tanking on purpose. You know, some of the games because they always turned it around. And now we know. It's not that they wanted to be 1-7. The owner was literally like, yo, y'all are starting 1-7. And then they go
Literally.
7-0.
Yep.
Right? And it's like, bro, Dolphin fans, get your money back. Sue the Dolphins. Do it.
Let's see, because he's gonna be suspended. New coach McDaniel's, Mike McDaniel's down up there trying to figure it all out. Brian Flores out. A lot of, well, I can't say a lot of draft picks now, obviously with losing in the first, but a lot of weapons. Still a pretty solid
Are
defense.
you boasting about all your damn first? We taking the next 10 you get, bitch. Give me them.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see what the hell Miami's going to look like.
Good luck, Tua. Good luck, Tyreek. Good luck, everyone else in there who actually wants to win a damn game.
Pretty much. I think now they're definitely way more motivated to win games because they want to prove everybody wrong. So we'll see how the Dolphins.
Watch, they just suck. Didn't even need to pay to get those L's, yo. Y'all just suck. Ugh.
Yeah, they definitely sucked some of those games. They definitely sucked. Remember, they were flip-flopping quarterbacks. It was Tua and Fitzpatrick, and then Tua and then Fitzpatrick, and then
Was that Flores' idea or was that the owner and GM's idea?
Stephen Ross
Probably
was like,
there.
"Hey, get Tua down there with his broken-ass hip and make him
Right.
fucking throw the ball for 2 quarters
Right.
and then bench his ass." I don't know what the
Oh,
hell
he's looking good? No, he's not.
Right.
Bench
Get
him.
Fitzpatrick.
Right.
Get Fitzpatrick. Make him
Oh,
throw one.
Jacoby and Fitzpatrick are playing good. They're not. Put Tua in. No.
I don't get it.
Put
I
the
don't
punter
know.
in.
It
Fuck
does
it.
not
Yeah,
look good.
nah.
And then we obviously have all the Deshaun Watson shit that's going on, which we'll probably talk about next week once Roger Goodell gives us a ruling on if we're going
when
up
he
to 12 games or all
boy,
the whole
it's
season.
gonna be the
Or
entire season.
there's a lot of reports that the on the real quick on the Deshaun Watson matter. Goodell had said Sue Robinson, honorable judge, had given a 6-game suspension based off the
First.
off one finding.
Yep.
Exactly. And there was 4 findings that they were.
Yep.
So does that get multiplied? I mean, he's suspended for 24 games? Do
Yeah.
you take the 20-something accounts and do that and just suspend him for life? I
Nah.
don't know what the hell's going to happen because I don't know how it's getting broken down. You know what I mean? Like I said, we started with 20-something and then minimized it down to 4, and then 1 got broken down.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not a lawyer, not a judge. I don't know how the hell they're going to proceed with this, but what is the max number? Are we just both
At
agree
least a season.
At least.
Yeah, because he's already stated, Deshaun. I know you said we want to move, but they've already stated, like, yo, if it's a season, we're suing, right? And
Yes.
if they say multiplying it 24 games, that's a season and 7 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is no way that man is gonna lie down. And I was watching the Pat McAfee show earlier, and I should have looked it up to see if I could, understand it. But, like, can they appeal the NFL's appeal?
Right.
Like, they got the 6 games. The NFL's appealing. Whatever they do, is it Goodell is final word, you're getting a season, don't care, plus a fine, whatever, right? Like,
yep.
Whatever he finds, whatever he decides, is that final? Or can they, oh, well, now we're going to appeal. And then when that gets fine, can the NFL be like, oh, well, we don't like that either. So here, another one. Does it ever end?
We're going to have to wait and see. That's literally the question is, where is it going to land following this appeal? Is Deshaun and his camp aren't going to lay down for the ruling. They already said it. We're suing. We're going to court. It is what it is. Does it get reviewed?
It has to be that 1 year, though.
I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. We're gonna see him in a Browns uniform on Friday because
against Jacksonville, so he's gonna look great.
Play on Friday. He will be there as the quarterback of the preseason game for the Browns. So it's going to be interesting. We're gonna transition on over to some training camp talk, and we're just gonna get right down to the fucking ugly because we're gonna start with New England and Mac Jones is struggling.
Shit, what's happening with them?
Mac Jones is struggling. 7-on-7, we looking nice. We looking good. Once we hit 11-on-11, apparently the offensive line goes to shit. Our D-line is destroying our offensive line, apparently, during these training camps. And Mac is struggling quite a bit on 11-on-11. We're also not running our old-style Belichick run a fullback, get Damian Harris back here. We are abandoning the fullback plan right now, and we're switching over to more Sean McVay.
Y'all are getting wild out there.
We're trying, no fullback. A little sad to see Jacob Johnson not being back there. I love that big son of a bitch. I forget who he signed with, but man, he was such a beast. I love having a fullback, old throwback style football. But we're not doing that anymore. We're having more Sean McVay spread, run offense scheme type of thing. And Matt Patricia, a defensive coordinator, is the one calling plays for Mr. Mac Jones. So I don't know. I'm not.
So, but how do you feel about hearing that your O-line's getting destroyed by your D-line?
It doesn't surprise me because if we remember at any point last year, there was like a 2-month span where everyone thought we were winning the Super Bowl because our
defense was
so
insane.
Good. So the fact that our defense is still that good, okay, all right. Bullying our offensive line, which isn't good. That means my quarterback might be fucked this year, which isn't something I want. But we're going to be able to get to the quarterback. It looks like Matthew Judon and the boys feel good down there, so I'll take it.
You don't eat macaroni, though, so...
Well, that's probably why he's getting Mac Jones, because he's fucking that...
right. Oh, your name's Mac? Okay,
exactly.
Right.
He's clapping mac and cheese, but I don't know. Our wide receivers are looking all right, so-so, but the main story is Mac is struggling in 11-on-11. 7-on-7 looks good, but for some reason, once we hit 11-on-11, the offensive line isn't holding up as great. But again, that can go to the fact that not a whole new offensive scheme, but we're trying a little bit different things with the run game and stuff like that. Obviously, I have a bunch of running backs. Our quarterback is trying to get on the same page with basically a new offensive coordinator who was actually a defensive coordinator.
And a terrible
his name is Matt Patricia. Exactly. It's Matt Patricia. There's only so much that we can go to. But, of course, that is going to do it for New England training camp. We're going to go on down to the bayou in New Orleans as Your first round pick
Apparently, they
is
look
picking
fantastic.
fights.
Yes.
Penning
Yes.
is going. Trevor Penning picked
3.
3 fights
Last I saw, it was
3
3.
days in a row. He picked
Yep.
3 fights 3 days in a row. I think with like 7 players. Like he's not just picking fights
Hey.
1-on-1 in the trenches. He's trying to fight 2 of your defensive linemen and linebackers at the same time. To the point that after day 3, they were like, "Get the fuck out. Just go home. We can't deal with you right now. Like you're ruining practice. You're being an asshole."
Is he though?
And it is amazing. It's good because it a lot of people are saying it reminds them of sort of Ryan Jensen in Tampa when he was in Buffalo. Everyone's like, this guy's an asshole. He sucks. Like we can't stand him.
Oh,
but it's good
you
when
talking
you
about
have him
Incognito?
on your team. Cognito is another guy, or Patrick Beverly in basketball. Like he's annoying as shit to deal with.
Yeah.
But he's on our team and he's pissing you guys off. We'll take it. So your first round pick is down there picking fights with your defense, which ain't no slouches back there. You know, Tyrone Matthews back there, Davenport's back
He's
there,
had a little bit of some personal.
back there. Jordan's back there. Y'all not backing down back there, and he's going. And then obviously great reports. Chris Olave has been the lead receiver, and I believe today it was reported that Michael Thomas is looking like Michael Thomas from
not just today.
Back, so
not just today has been reported. They've been reporting that for a minute. Hey.
How are we feeling in the Bayou with everything going on? Better news than us.
Wins. Very realistic with this team. We'll start, at the top. Trevor Penning. Yeah, he's a dick. But that can lead to penalties because he gets in the head of a defensive player and then they go to throw a swing or they, jaw him back at him. Yes, you're going to have to calm it down, when you get into a game, but this is practice. Yep. Sometimes, maybe a player's like, yo, let's just take it easy today and practice, right? This man's like, no, I want to see what you got. Show me what I'm going to have to deal with. Show me 100-sack Cameron Jordan, show me what it takes to be in the NFL. And if I got to punch a few people, I got to pick fights with people, I'm going to do it. It's okay to be an asshole. Just know when to be the asshole, right? Right. Chris Olave. Heard he could potentially be Jameis Winston's favorite target because he gets down the field so quick.
Yep.
If he's breaking defenses off like that, you got to look at Michael Thomas. If it is believed this man's back and looking fully healthy, our offense could be terrifying. It could be terrifying.
There's one,
Jarvis.
there's one
Kamara
little thing in the background that,
But they were saying earlier, he will not be suspended until that is, figured out what's going to happen. Yep. If a video comes out, if anything crazy comes out where it paints Alvin as, all right, this man, then they'll do the suspension. But apparently there's no imminent suspension until.
Which I feel like it's bad.
It keeps getting delayed.
Get it out the way. I would.
You would want to get it out of the way, but if they keep delaying it, why? Why are you delaying it so much?
Right.
Is it because you have nothing? Is it because you are still trying to find everything out? What is causing it to be delayed? And now I believe it's at the end of September or beginning of September that the next court date is. The last delay is the next thing. It's beginning of September, end of September, I believe, where they're finally going to have a ruling.
Okay.
We believe. Unless they're we got to delay it a little bit.
He's going to get suspended for 6 games. You want it weeks 1 through 6, figure it out towards the end. You don't want a suspension come in week 8, and then he's gone for the back half of the season. That's what you don't want to do.
Yeah, if we're when Jameis went down, we were 5-2.
Yep.
And then we saw how that went, right? Yep. Alvin, yes, it's not a quarterback, but he is a very vital piece to that offense. He runs the ball well, he catches the ball. If he needs to throw the ball, he can do it all offensively. And if we lose him and say our record's maybe we're 6-5 or we're 7-4, and we're playing games where it's damn, Alvin could have really helped us here. then it's like, damn, that really messed us up. Can we get it out of the way next time, or maybe don't do what we were accused of doing?
Yep.
But Saints look great, bro.
Right.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. I'll always be excited, even if we look like dog shit. But apparently, we look like we come in for some heads. Not Bounty Gate. I promise, not Bounty Gate, but we coming for some heads. We're coming for some shoulders, okay? We're coming for the shoulders.
Yeah. I forget you guys had all that.
Yeah.
That was tough. That was some tough times. But, gonna keep moving around training.
That's what I was talking about. My coach getting suspended an entire year earlier, bro.
Yeah.
Tragic.
Yeah, we forgetting you guys did all that.
We got a Super Bowl out of it, though. You know what that's like.
You did. Keep it moving around training camp. A team that's down bad and looks like it's going to be getting worse. We got the Bears. Roquan Smith.
Get him out.
The stud linebacker, and what's left of this defense, because Khalil Mack's a Charger.
Yes.
Akeem Hicks is down in Tampa Bay.
Charger.
Akeem Hicks is down in Tampa Bay.
Yep.
And now your stud, all-pro, probably
fourth
one of the
year
best defensive players you're probably going to draft in quite some. We're going to have to wait and see. You got some secondary pieces. Jalen Johnson back there. You had Fuller back there. You had a couple guys, but going to lose a guy in the middle there in only his fourth year.
Yep.
Man, I get it. We got to help Justin Fields on the offense. But we got to help the offense by making sure the defense could get some stops and get them some field positioning. You've gotten rid of arguably what looks like your three best players in a year span.
Yep.
What the hell is going on with the Bears?
They continue to be the Bears.
Fair point.
I know. I know they had like the dome pitch, and it seems like the Bears might not be in Chicago for much longer. They might be moving their way to a place called like Arlington, I believe, because they can make a new stadium there. It'll be weird not being, they'll be known as the Chicago Bears, but they won't be in Chicago. We know how that goes. But you cannot disrespect a top 10 player who has played as such for your team, right? And then you cannot disrespect him. He is representing himself, and that can be, a little toxic at times. But the man released a statement, and it just makes you like his side. Yes, obviously we need to know what the owner or the people who are offering the contracts, their side. But from Roquan's side, he said it would not only hurt him, it would hurt the entire linebacker market. And we know the players are going to look out for each other. Yep. Christian Kirk got $21 million, and look what happened.
Christian Kirk was looking out for himself.
Hey, that man, it might have started as that, but while looking out for himself, it looked out for the entire wide receiver group as a whole, right? The quarterbacks. We saw what happened after Patrick Mahomes got that $500
we ain't fucking done with these quarterbacks.
Exactly, we're not. And then every year it feels like, oh, this is now the highest paid safety. This is the highest paid corner. This is the highest paid. This man was saying, I signed this contract. Not only is it not beneficial for me, but it's going to hurt every single linebacker. So why would I sign it in? They're not even trying to make like good faith. He literally says they're in bad faith right now. Like they are not trying to come to an agreement at all. I love this place. I was drafted here. Being a part of the Bears defense, 85 Bears, right? Like that is one team. We are 25 years old, and one team about is the 85 Bears because that defense, Urlacher, and he mentions like all these great linebackers and he wants to be a part of that, and he showed I can be a great linebacker, but I'm not gonna do it at the cost to myself and for everybody else. It's not. And if they're not practicing in good faith, you already have an issue with the new GM and shit. Like that's fucked.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something they're gonna have to figure out because you're literally not helping Justin Fields on either side of the ball. Either side of the ball. So I don't know what they're gonna plan. on doing. Keep on chugging along. Training camp, we're gonna go up north. We got 4 teams. We'll wrap it up talking about 4 teams. We'll start. We had already talked about the Browns and the dumpster fire they got going on.
Kareem
Most
wants out.
notably, Kareem Hunt. Where we
My
talk a lot
bad for
about
jumping the
Deshaun.
gun.
No, that's perfect
Ridiculous.
because that's exactly where Kareem Hunt hasn't been obviously got to Cleveland. It wasn't in the beautiful fashion.
Yeah.
He was with
Yep.
Kansas City, and things obviously happen. Running backs seem to have a very short temper in the NFL.
Yes.
Frank Gore is currently in ugly headlines right now. I don't know if you saw
Did
that.
not see that.
He dragged a naked woman down a hallway last month, beat the shit out of all types of shit. Adrian Peterson. The list
Yes.
goes on and on. Running
Yeah.
backs,
Yeah. And
not
it's because they
great,
get banged up, bro,
not
and get a
great.
little,
And now we've
you
seen,
know.
Kareem Hunt behind Nick Chubb, arguably the best 1-2 punch running back duo
Yes.
in the NFL over the last few
Yes.
seasons. And now he is ready to get paid like one of those.
It's probably not only get
And,
paid. It's probably also like, yo, I have showed I'm still just as good as I was. I want to be the feature back of a backfield. Like that man, yeah, he wants his money, and that is probably like, at least to me, it would be number one. Money would be number one because money is everything, right?
usually.
But that man, he just wants to be a starting running back and knows like I don't have to worry about me being the starter if this man's injured.
Yep.
He knows going in, I'm the starter, and hey, we lose Alvin for a little bit, we'll take you.
Everybody is
There
ready
is
to
a
go.
plethora of teams that is like we need to run it. The Falcons,
Yeah,
put
but
him
the
with
problem
Mariota.
is you're gonna
Like
have to go get him, trade
yeah,
for him, and then you got to pay him.
yeah.
That's
No,
the
you
shit.
do. It definitely is. Paying running backs,
It's not a thing.
it doesn't usually work out well either. Like you look at Zeke, like there have been running backs who got that money, but I think Kareem Hunt, I think he doesn't have the wear and tear either. He's been the backup, right? Like
Yep.
he's ran a lot for him, but he
Backup's
hasn't.
still rushing for 1,000 yards
Yeah,
though.
yeah, exactly. But he had, his touches. He hasn't been beat around as much as like Derrick Henry being the starter.
Yep.
Christian McCaffrey being the starter, Zeke being the starter. Being a starter, you get those more reps. And being the backup, maybe he's preserved his body a little bit,
Right.
and maybe it helps, maybe it don't.
Yeah.
But
No.
that man wants out.
He does. Everyone in the NFL right now wants to get paid. That's
Oh
really
yeah,
how it's gonna go. The
they're in
Kareem
the
Hunt saga
NFL.
is gonna be
Of course, they want to
interesting
get paid.
because it is going to be a huge part of, it's a huge part of what the Browns have done for the last few years. It's been a
Hey,
run the
yes,
ball, and definitely defensively now has been picking up. Obviously, with the acquisition of Deshaun Watson, they want to get a bit of the passing game and the air raid going, but play action's best friend is a really good running back. And it's going to be really, it's great when you have 2,000-yard rushers. If you got to move on from one, it's going to be tough. Where Kareem Hunt lands, it's going to be interesting. We're going to chug on along to Steelers training camp as George Pickens is lighting it up. And it seems like
yeah,
Mr. Mitch Trubisky is still
yes.
slated to be week 1 starter. Kenny Pickett is obviously coming along, but it is looking like it is going to be potentially a year of groom, if not 8 games in, maybe make the switch.
Yep.
But right now, Mitch Trubisky is the starter in Pittsburgh.
That's probably the right call, if we're being honest. Mason, nah, probably not. You know, you know.
You know,
And then Kenny, he might prove like, yo, I am actually the better quarterback. But for the time being, you go with the one who has a winning record in the NFL, who has been in the playoffs before, won the MVP, like it's tough because of everything that happened with the Bears.
Yep.
But like the Bears stink. They suck. And maybe Trubisky was actually and is actually better than what we were led to believe because the Bears
man,
just
what
couldn't figure
playoff
it out.
games? It was a Pro Bowl.
Yeah, like, but man, that man George Pickens,
Looking good.
that man, if everything works out, and I know before I would watch people like, he's really great, and if he didn't have these injuries, he would probably be in the first round. George Pickens feels like that wide receiver who got taken in the second round, and he's about to just dominate. Davante, Mike Thomas, like he looks ready to go, and he in practice does not give up on a ball.
Yep.
Like you see him tipping it up and then stretching out, and then he puts it on the ground. Like I want to assume they were like, "Oh, fumble," and he went for the ball immediately, right? Like
Dog.
they they got a great wide receiver to pair him with Claypool and Freiermuth, and I know the
Najee.
offensive line isn't the best, but you got Najee, and then the quarterback is in
and
question.
Mike Tomlin, man.
And you got Brian Flores. Man will go on a 7-win streak when they're supposed to be losing. So,
yep,
that AFC North, that's going to be a tough division.
It is. It is. We're going to keep talking about it. We got the Ravens on deck, and we will get Matt up in here at some point to give us a bit more breakdown of what's going on over there, as he does have his own podcast covering the Baltimore Ravens. But, of course, we're still waiting for the Lamar Jackson deal to be inked on paper.
Will it?
Mark Andrews is still a stud of a tight end. The secondary, healthy, redone. Bringing in Kyle Hamilton in the draft.
Yeah.
Bringing
People
in Marcus
cooking
Williams.
that man. It's okay, guys. It'll be okay.
And then my guy, Rashad Bateman, hopefully gets a step in as a true stud wide receiver for this team. Obviously, we'll see how the running back committee goes, but the running attack should be solid.
JK
Not
back.
a lot of news.
JK is back.
Yeah, it's been quiet. A little bit quiet out of Baltimore's camp outside of, still waiting for Lamar and obviously Kyle Hamilton getting roasted.
Yeah, it's training camp. Maybe he wasn't giving it his all, and that person was like, I got to prove I can be a part of this team. Like, you're a first-round pick. I'm undrafted. I got to do something. I'll cook you. Thanks. Out, right? I don't know who tweeted it. But I did see a tweet of Lamar throwing to Rashad Bateman. It was like, look at Lamar throwing to his number one wide receiver. And I was like, Lewis is going to love that. He's going to love it. So I don't have much to say about the Ravens. I always feel like I'm drawn to the Ravens. I love their uniforms. Like, the Raven as a bird is just cool.
Purple and black.
I will root. Yeah, no, I'll root for a team strictly based on their uniforms, right? Like, if your uniforms are cool as shit, I want to see you win. And the Ravens, they have amazing uniforms. They have Lamar Jackson. They have pieces that I like. They have Patrick Queen, who went to LSU. Like, they have pieces that I like. So I will always root for the Ravens until they're facing my team or they have someone I don't like, or But the Ravens, I feel like they should always be a good team until something happens in season where it's like, oh, it's going to be one of those years for them.
Like last season?
Exactly. So I expect them to be good. 12 wins good, maybe not.
If they're healthy. If it's all healthy, said and done, Deshaun
and everybody's
might be
on the same page, got a contract inked, or maybe Lamar not signing that contract makes him play even harder and play even better, get another MVP. Maybe go to the conference finals, maybe go to the Super Bowl this year, like the Ravens are always going to be a threat.
If he can get them to the playoffs without signing this deal and he either beats Mahomes, Burrow, or Allen or Herbert in that first round playoff game, he's secured his money regardless of how
probably.
If they make the playoffs and he outduels one of the other big four up over there, they're gonna pay the man for sure. And that's gonna bring us, speaking of Joey B, talking in Cincinnati Bengals, the reigning AFC champions, made it to the Super Bowl.
Weird to hear.
And now they're redoing shit, man. They are now the Payco Stadium, new 16-year lease on the stadium, trying to build in some revenue. And now, officially reported a little while back, they're going to build an indoor training facility finally, because this one man has shaped and transformed this franchise
He's brought so much hope to
for
so many
the better.
organizations, man.
And that is Joey. Joe Burrow has absolutely flipped the Cincinnati Bengals upside down. And training camp is rolling through. Every other week
Literally.
I get on,
I see what you
Jamar
did there.
Chase is doing some outlandish shit. Literally, before the show kicked off, I was watching him hit a one-handed catch over
I saw
Eli
that.
Apple. Before, like
I saw
every
that.
week in training camp, it's Burrow to Jamar, and it's a highlight in training camp. And they're cooking their defense like it's nothing. Obviously, Higgins, Boyd, Mixon. You got Bates on the other side. You got
Hey, don't
Eli
forget
Apple
about
for whatever
Moss,
it's worth.
man.
And you got all these different. Zach Taylor's ready to go. We got Evan McPherson kicking bombs. Cincinnati is like it's a cool kid on the block. The new guys are the place to be, and it is overhauled. It is being taken over. Joe Burrow has just stolen Cincinnati, it feels like, and this is just a new place. And I know right up your alley. Pair LSU guys went up there and are now getting it done. And it's like they never left. They went from being Tigers to Bengals. It's like it was just natural for them. How are we feeling? Because I know deep in your mind back there, the NFC, it's the Saints, but realistically, your AFC team back there, I know it's the Cincinnati Bengals, even though we just gave the Ravens some love.
Yeah, I'll always give Ravens love. I really will, just simply because those uniforms are so clean. They're expected to be good this year. Last year there was no expectations, okay, and there might be that little step back, but I don't think this Bengals team is falling off anytime soon. They revamped that O-line, right? You talking about all the changes. They got an O-line for Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's numbers were even better when the O-line would actually protect him, right? Like, in my mind, the entire time when they were signing people, I was just like, I really hope for some reason this man only plays well under pressure. But then they show the number of, like, when he's actually protected, his numbers look really good, really well, whatever you want to say. Man's lost his appendix though, so he might just fall off completely. Like
riding the golf cart.
Yeah, when you said rolling through, I remember the video of him doing the sprints with the golf cart. But this Bengals team is going to be nice. They lost Uzuma. They might lose Bates,
but they got Hurts back. Hayden Hurts came in.
Bates.
I think they'll figure it out. They're gonna.
But yeah, this team
need to figure it out.
Do they win this division? There's a good chance they win this division, but there's also a good chance they could tie in this division. Just because of how good everyone else is.
This division slightly falls on how long that Deshaun Watson suspension is.
And also with the Steelers, is Mitch actually the guy, or is Kenny actually the guy, or is Mason Rudolph actually the guy?
Pretty much. I mean, it could. You never know, because what's stopping Kenny Pickett from coming in and having Justin Herbert type of vibe where he just fills in,
Probably
ain't nobody know. You don't know if he's gonna be any good or not. He's just gonna get stepped right in for whatever the occasion is, and nobody's ready for Kenny Pickett. And all of a sudden, he got a couple valid weapons.
Hey, they were comparing him to Joe Burrow.
Herbert was able to come in and had two good wide receivers and a good running back. Kind of looks like that's the route that Kenny Pickett might have. He might have a pair of good wide receivers, good running back, a much better defense than what Justin Herbert had coming in, and obviously the better defense than Joe Burrow. Although Joe Burrow definitely has the much better. I won't say much better weapons, but I think Cincinnati's weapons are a bit better.
They're number one.
The Steelers, but the Steelers, depending on how they play out, because now they have a losing season. They might go 8-1 again, but they ain't gonna have a losing season.
Yeah.
And then depending on the Deshaun Watson suspension, if it's a 6-game, 8-game, all year. If it's all year, then you're in the AFC North, and you're looking there, and you're like 2 wins, check. You know what I'm saying?
That's a little hurtful.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I give them at least 4.
That's like, all right, that's 2 wins right there. We know we're gonna beat Cleveland. Check and check. And that sort of changes things. But if Deshaun comes back, and it's the back half of the season, we're playing for playoff seedings and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and then you're running into Deshaun at the end, then it's a little bit more tricky. So the
Yeah.
suspension is definitely is going to loom very interesting as we get ready for tonight's AEW Dynamite. We'll see if we go and continue our show on Friday. I'll have to see how we're feeling up under the weather, trying to kick this COVID's ass. This episode's already run way longer than I thought it would. I've been able to survive so far. So
Because you're
all
having
well and
fun,
done.
bro. Time flies when you're having
Bro, the
fun.
second I hang up this call and I'm done and I go sit somewhere, I'm like, oh, I'm
Yo,
done.
nah, that's how it is. That's exactly how
But,
it is.
stay tuned next week. Like I had already mentioned earlier, keep track of Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell shenanigans in the NBA side. Gonna keep track of all training camp and all things like that. Patriots kickoff tomorrow against the Giants in our first preseason game. Who are you guys playing preseason week 1?
Hell if I know.
Who the
Hell
hell you
if I
guys playing?
care. It's a preseason game, homie.
I hear it. We're gonna keep all the spring training stuff going on. We're gonna keep talking injuries and stuff like that. Obviously, we've had Jensen injury. There was Russell Gage injury. Also got reported Winston having a little bit of an ankle problem. We'll see how that pans out. Mekhi Becton out in New York is effectively done for the season, if I'm not mistaken.
Tough.
We'll keep track of all of that and more. We're looking over to the West Coast. We'll be looking at Kyler. We're gonna see what Trey Lance is up to in the Jimmy G fiasco. Tip on over to Carolina, see how Baker Mayfield and the boys are doing down there. But that's going to do it for us here at RGTP. Mom, let the folks at home know what to do.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, notifications on. I almost forgot. It's been so long.
It's been so long. Make sure to stay tuned. We are back on the grind. See ya.
Peace.